Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. Hope everyone's doing good. So yeah, still cranking along here, cranking out new reviews. Always, always new movies to talk about. I just uploaded a brand new show that I did. I actually recorded it yesterday and just posted it today. And I also did a post for it. I usually what I do for most of the movies that I talk about, especially when it comes to my favorite genre of filmmaking, which is the exploitation genre, and all of the things that entails. I typically I do the video on through for YouTube, my YouTube channel, Main Film Fanatic, and then I share it onto Facebook. I put it on my personal page, and then also on my Film Fanatic Facebook page. I usually, when it comes to exploitation movies, I also do a regular post, like a little review of the film. I typically do that all the time when I am doing those kinds of films. That style is just my favorite. It's can't get enough of it. I get going once I get going down the once I get going down the rabbit hole where I've like bought a few of those movies and I haven't seen them yet. I just dive deep and love those movies to death. They are it's my favorite style. And then usually when it comes to other movies that are not part of that kind of style, like big big budget Hollywood films and what have you, I typically will do the video reviews if I want to, really, if I'm really excited about it. But then I don't usually do a post with it. Also, I usually don't do a regular post around that. So and then when I'm also one of the things I always try to do is try to bring a variety to this channel. We all have our favorite things that we are are always kind of drawn to, kind of like the source. But I love to mix things up a lot and to talk about all kinds of things related to films. So today's show is kind of a specialty show. It's going to be on Robert Eggers, who I think is easily one of the best directors right now. The trailer for his upcoming film Nosferatu just came out, I believe, last week, and it's not coming out till Christmas time, which is, I think, pretty funny. At first, when I heard that the film was going to be released on Christmas, I thought it was like, wow, that's odd, or wow, I have to wait. We have to wait such a long time because I had heard about this movie for a very long time. But then I thought, after a month or so, I was like, no, that's actually kind of awesome that he's going to be releasing Nosferatu like on Christmas. I just think it's hilarious. But the trailer just came out. There was a little bit of a teaser trailer, I believe, which was like really short. And then an official trailer came out a couple days ago for Nosferatu. And for me, it's how you do a trailer right. It is it's one of the best trailers I've seen in a very long time. It the last trailer that I saw and the movie I'm probably well the movie I'm most excited about seeing during the summertime, and I believe it's coming out in August, is Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus, the new Alien installment, the new Alien movie. The trailer for that movie is just incredible. So when I saw Nosferatu, the trailer the other day, a buddy of mine had told me that it was out, and so I watched it right away. And it's a 2 minute trailer, and it's amazing. It's like everything that you need for a trailer, because so many trailers, I just think, for newer films are just awful. Like, they literally give away everything. They literally you you know, on a scale from 1 to 10, it's like after you see your average movie trailer now, I you almost don't have to see the film. I mean, it kind of just all the plot reveals are there. You see where the characters go. You see the arcs of the characters. You kind of see where it ends up in the trailer, and there's no, a trailer should be. Well, I should say, most trailers now like pose questions, but then also answer them. Where you know exactly what the movie's about, and you kind of know how it's going to resolve. You kind of know how it ends, and it's totally ridiculous because I think the strength of a really good trailer should like really pique your interest, but then leave you with even more questions and wanting to see it and being drawn in because you're getting just enough information where it's just, really, it's acting as an appetizer. And it's just like, oh, I want that main course. I want to know. I don't really quite know what is going on. I don't really know exactly what this, well, for instance, Nosferatu, which is a classic, classic story, and there's been many retellings of it. But even though we know that story in and out as being fans of horror, there's what I got from watching the trailer was I'm not sure where it's going to go. I'm not sure. It feels like it's going to be a very original take of the classic vampire story, and it's going to be something unique, and it's going to be different, and it's going to be this bringing you into this world that we've never quite seen before. That's the feeling that I got, and that it is. It left me with questions. It left me with a feeling of really wanting to see it. It looked amazing, amazing. So I'm super excited for it. It's everything. It's the epitome for everything that works for when a trailer is done right. Just awesome. And so, I wanted to talk about today's show. I want to talk about Nosferatu. I want to talk about the new trailer. And then just overall talk about Robert Edgers and his amazing track record as a filmmaker. And I think he is, you know, I think when I think of like say new or modern horror directors that I think are really good, that are very original, like Robert Edgers, Jordan Peele, Ari Aster, you know, they're all very unique. All three of them, all three of their styles are completely unique, completely different from each other. And for the most part, their the track record, the films that they have to their credits are pretty amazing. Jordan Peele, I think, is just onto his. He's on his own island as a filmmaker. I think he is a brilliant filmmaker. I think he has such an amazing track record. I love all of his films, all three films. Really excited to see where he goes. Ari Aster, the same thing. Although I will say I was really, really disappointed with his last film, Beau is Afraid. I did not make it all the way through. I understood, I think, for the most part, what he was trying to do, and I kind of admire to a degree the, the kind of the adventurous style, of telling this pretty bizarre story. But I didn't think it landed, and I was really, really disappointed, and I was really, I don't know, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, only in a way because I felt like it was at a level, it got to this level where it was kind of really pretentious and it kind of crawled up its own ass. But Robert Edgers, for instance, I think his track record is just pristine, flawless. I mean, I mean, it's just amazing. His debut film, The Witch, which came out in 2015. An amazing film. That movie, I saw that movie, I think about 4 or 5 months after it came out on video. I did not get a chance to see it in the theater. The Witch was his first film, his first theatrical film, and I saw it about 4 or 5 months after it came out on video. I rented it on, I believe, DVD, and I just loved it. I was totally captivated. It was such a unique experience, and I really was drawn in, and I really loved that movie. And then I think within that year or less, I bought The Witch on Blu-ray, and since then I have seen The Witch multiple times, and it's one of those movies that every time that I watch it, I find myself loving it more and more and getting more out of it. It's such an incredible movie. It's got such grit to it. I'm a big fan of the period piece when a film is acts when a film can really take on something ambitious where it almost acts like a kind of like a time machine, and it can transport you to a very specific time and place, and it feels that environment or that world feels authentic, feels like it's really lived in. I'm a That's one of my favorite things that or my that's one of my favorite experiences that you can have as a filmmaker, and I think Robert Eggers is a master of all of those details and really transporting the viewer to this alternate universe. And I remember reading an interview, or actually seeing an interview with Robert Edgers, because when I saw The Witch, it really reminded me in a lot of ways of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, which is a masterpiece. My favorite director of all time is Stanley Kubrick. I did a big show on him probably a year or two ago, and just amazing. And I pretty much The Shining is my favorite of Kubrick's films, and so I when I saw The Witch, and it's happened quite a few times. Even though it's a very different world and characters, different, obviously very different story. There were a lot of things about it that really reminded me of The Shining, and I think it was really initially the way the film is laid out, the pacing. And I remember seeing an interview with Robert Edgers where he said that when he was younger and in college and growing up, during that time, he was obsessed with The Shining, and he would watch it over and over again and make notes about the pacing, the placement of cameras, and all of those things. And it was like, wow, okay. But and talk about a filmmaker that knocks it out of the park, right away. Kind of like, I think of it as kind of like what Quentin Tarantino did with Reservoir Dogs, where it's just like right out of the gate, it's all guns blazing. It's like it's on. I feel like The Witch was that for Robert Eggers' career. His next film was the Lighthouse, which came out in 2019. I was fortunate to see that film in the theater, and my God, what an experience that movie was! It was such a jarring experience. I think that movie is a masterpiece. I don't. The only film of Robert Edgers, the only Robert Edgers film that I own on Blu-ray is The Witch. I need to buy all of his films because his movies really are they're truly a cinematic experience. But I got to see The Lighthouse in the theater, and I was just blown away. And right to the very end of that film, I was literally just like gripping the seat, and Such a harrowing movie, such an intense movie. Talk about creating this atmosphere. Just an amazing film. I definitely need to buy that on Blu-ray at some point. I've seen it a few times on DVD, but I've never seen it on Blu-ray, and I don't own it. So that is definitely on my list eventually. His last film that he directed, The Northman, which came out in 2022, I did see that in the theater also, and the same experience. That movie is kind of a masterpiece. It, arguably it might technically be from this because of the sheer size and scope of that film, the epic quality of that film. It could be his best film. I just think the how he was able to, you know, give you such a look into the life and of the Northman and the sense of being, authentically taken to this place and brings you to this, like, the essence of, like, Norse mythology, and the grittiness of a Viking, the feeling like you're in the middle of a Viking saga, in a literal sense, was astounding, and it's truly a masterpiece. It is. I remember seeing it in the theater when it came out, and it was definitely one in 2022 already. It's hard to believe it came out in 2022 already. It was definitely probably the best movie that I saw that year. I've only seen it the one time. That's another movie because of the size and scale of that movie. I really need to buy that on Blu-ray. So I mean, yeah, there's nothing bad that I can say about Robert Eggers' his career, his films. Just these three films alone are just so incredible. His movies are typically very, very dark, very brutal. They definitely have, a horror element, or you could just say they are horror films. But he really is focused on kind of the character development of a story, and he has such a, like I said in the beginning, just this insane amount of detail, and just he it's all about the devil's truly in the details, in his films. Like, there's so much detail, and I think that's one of the things that makes his films so fantastic, is because there's so many little bits and pieces that you're exposed to when you watch a Robert Eggers film, that and there's so many layers, and there is like a metaphorical thing to his movies also. um I think that's one of the reasons that you can watch his films and get something different over a period of time. Get a slightly different experience, or get an entirely different experience from when you first saw it. That's happened to me with The Witch, where it is a different experience. Each time I've seen it. And so, because there's such a rich quality to his films, that's to me is like the main selling point. So, I think, that really makes him just one of the most important directors right now. So, with that track record and all that being said, watching the trailer for Nosferatu was just incredible. I cannot wait for Christmas time. I've never been more excited for Christmas than I am now. So, yeah, I just wanted to do a quick little show about Robert Eggers and the newly released Nosferatu trailer, and all things that entails. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.